Hey yo! Welcome back to the channel, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another live stream. Bitcoin has managed to break above $94,000. Bitcoin has managed to break above $94,000. You may be looking at $94,000. You may be looking at $94,000 and thinking, what the heck is going on? How are we at $94,000 already? How are we back above $90,000? If that is you, then I'm going to share with you exactly how we got here. We are going to analyze Bitcoin properly. We are going to talk about the altcoin market because I believe, all right, not based on, nothing. I believe, based on the data, based on what I'm seeing in the charts, this is going to lead, or actually, this is already happening. I believe we are going to see an incredible altcoin performance. So, it should be an incredible live stream. We got so much to talk about. Bitcoin, again, in the $90,000 range. If you are a subscriber, if you watch my live streams, you shouldn't be surprised. You should not be surprised at all. But welcome back to the channel, guys. I hope you guys are having an amazing start to the week. I hope you are having an amazing Monday wherever you are. I hope you had an incredible weekend. If this is your first time here, just do me a favor, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and let's talk about it. All right, let's talk about it. Bitcoin, $94,000. Look, my target is $96,000. My price target is $96,000. But I want to talk about exactly how we got here. Why $96,000 is my target. Any update that you guys are looking for in regards to Bitcoin, all coins, I want to talk about all of it. I have some time. I have about, look, I'm going to give you guys an hour. I'll give you guys an hour of, straight price analysis, cryptocurrency market, the stock market. I'm going to give you guys some incredible analysis. All right. So once again, welcome back to the channel. And let's not waste time. Let's jump, let's jump straight to it, right? Let's jump straight to it, guys. So $94,000, that is the price of Bitcoin. If you are a subscriber, if you are someone that's been watching my Bitcoin updates, we talked about this. We talked about this. And we said $96,000 is coming. So this was my Bitcoin update from about 4 days ago. The price of Bitcoin was right here, guys, around $87,000. And I got very excited. All right. I got very, very excited. And I looked at Bitcoin and I said to you, in the next 10 to 20 days, we are going to see Bitcoin around $96,000. That was 4 days ago. Bitcoin is $2,000 away, actually less than $2,000 from $96,000. This is incredible, right? Technical analysis is not everything, but it does work. Right? Technical analysis is not everything, but it does work. So we are at a place where I wouldn't want to be a buyer. If you're looking at Bitcoin right now and you're thinking about jumping in, it's too late. I'm sorry, it's too late. You gotta have to stay on the sideline. You gotta have to wait for another setup. It is too late, in my opinion. The time to get in was back here. The time to get in was 4 days ago. when the price was at $87,000, when the chart was looking like this. Right now, it's too late, guys. If you get in, look, can the price go higher? Can the price go to $110,000? Of course. But I don't think so. I don't think we go into $110,000. So to me, the risk at $94,000 is not worth it. And the reason I think the risk is not worth it is because we are very close to what I think is going to be the top of this move right here. I think somewhere around here we top and then we get a big pullback, back to this yellow line right here. So if you're looking at Bitcoin right now, if you're jumping in right now, I wouldn't do it. Personally, I wouldn't do it. The time to get in was back here. This was a time to get in with a stop loss just right below $84,000. So in the short term, we are very bullish. All right? We are very bullish. I do have to say that. But we're not bullish in sense of, we go into some crazy price targets. We still got another 20% move ahead of us. I don't think that's the case. We're bullish in terms of the price is going up, but we are very close to a major resistance. My analysis has always been, these last couple of days, that this is a bear flag, right? I believe this is a bear flag right here. And the target should be somewhere around $96,000, $98,000. And also when you zoom out and you go to the weekly, I talked about in a bear market or during a downtrend, price tends to come back to retest the 21 weekly moving average or the 50 weekly moving average. Right now, the 21 weekly is at $98,000. So if Bitcoin is going back to retest its 21 weekly moving average, we only $4,000 away from the target. So is the risk worth it? Jumping in right here to take profits at $98,000, is that really worth it? I don't think so. All right. Could we go just above 80, could we go just above the 21 weekly moving average? Of course. In previous bear markets, price, sometimes broke above the 21 weekly, like this one right here. So, it wouldn't surprise me if we break above the 21 weekly, but I don't think that is going to be sustainable. I do think if we break above the 21 weekly, maybe we spend just 1 or 2 weeks above the 21 weekly moving average, and then we get the retracement. So the risk is just not worth it right here at $94,000. If we're not going up to retest the 21 weekly, then we are, looking at a retest of the 50 weekly moving average. The 50 weekly is right now at $97,000. It's actually lower than the 21 weekly moving average. So do you really want to jump in at $94,000 to take profits at $97,000? I don't think that's the smartest thing to do. Excuse me. So if we go back to the daily, all right, once again, to me, this is a bear flag right here. And just in case you are wondering what does a bear flag looks like, let me show it to you right here, chat. This is a bear flag right here. All right, you have a market that's in a downtrend, and then price goes up. Right here, you have this is the pole right here, and then price consolidates, higher highs, higher lows, and then you are rejected, of course, and then you get a pullback, and then you break the flag, and then you end up with a dump like this. So if you look at BTC right here, this is the pole, all right, and then we have our consolidation, higher highs, higher lows. So I do think this is the final move where we retest, the resistance, and then we are going to get rejected, and then you are looking at a Bitcoin that comes back down to retest $89,000 because that is where the support is going to be. But I think we lose I think we lose $89,000, and I think you got a Bitcoin that, in terms of targets, you got a Bitcoin that comes down to around, $74,000 and potentially lower. And, in terms of targets, like what is a target of this bear flag right here? Well, there's a couple ways to calculate, the target if we do lose the support. One way is, you take the measurement from the top all the way down to the bottom, just like this one right here. So from the top to this bottom right here, and then you go from the top. So you basically take that measurement and you plug it right here from the top. It gives you a target. So, maybe in terms of targets, we can go like this. So that will give us a Bitcoin a target of around, $53,000. Chat. Surprisingly, when we zoom out and we go to the weekly, listen, what is the target that we have talked about these last couple weeks on the weekly? It's $50,000. So it's right there. It's right in front of you. All right. It doesn't have to play out, but this is not something that you want to ignore. You want to take this very, very, very serious. Let me show you the same pattern and let me show you the same target just using last year bear market, excuse me. So last year we had a very similar bear flag, which was right here, guys. All right. Now let's see, based on the same analysis, if we get the same target. So if we take this drop right here and we go from this top right here, guys, it gives us a target of $12,000. Did we hit $12,000 in the last bear market? Nope. But guess what? Look at the price, $15,000. All right, not $12,000, but $15,000. Very close to $12,000. Very close to $12,000. So, yeah, hopefully that was right. I went from the top. No, right there. Go from the top right there, and then right here you go from the top, right there. So look, give us a target of $12,000. 13,000, excuse me. So you don't want to take this lightly, all right? In terms of where the price of Bitcoin is heading, I mean, not in the short term. This is more 6 to 12 months from now. You're looking at somewhere around $50,000. $50,000, this is an incredible price action right here in this range. From $49,000 up to $74,000. You have so many points of reference. Do we just go to 54,000? Do we just go to 59,000? Like, there's so much in this range right here. So anywhere around here, you start looking for opportunities from the bigger time frame. But of course, something is going to take place right here. If this is going to be the bottom of the bear market, you are going to see some sort of bullish base build up right here. Maybe something that looks like this. But we'll see how this all plays out. But, going back to the current regime, we have a Bitcoin that is working its way up to $96,000. A great time to be in the cryptocurrency market. Altcoins are doing very well because of this move right here. We recently talked about some bullish altcoins, some already up substantially. You have Sui that is up, I think, 40%. You have Bonk that has done, I think, an 80% move. A bunch of meme coins have done pretty well. But yeah, this is what we have right now. In the short term, Bitcoin is coming towards the end of the move. For any of you guys who's looking at BTC right now and thinking about, getting into something, no, this is too late, guys. A couple of days ago, at $89,000, $87,000 right here, that was a time to jump in. And I told you guys this was looking pretty bullish, and I was looking at, $96,000. So look, if you jumped in right here, I'm going to even tell you right now, this is a time to start taking profits. You start taking profits right here because we are already running into resistance. All right? Already we are running into resistance. If you think about $92,000, this is the same place we got rejected the last 3 times. We got rejected right here, got rejected right here, got rejected right here. So even though I'm looking at us going all the way up to 96,000, this is a place where if you are already in profits, this is a place where you start scaling out. Now you start scaling out right here. All right, this is not the time to jump in. If you're jumping in right here, the question is, where do you put your stop loss? If your stop loss is below $86,000, that means, you're looking at a Bitcoin that is going to around 107,000. I don't believe we're going here. Now, can we? Of course, but short-term wise, I have to be very respectful of $96,000. And if I have a position, I'm taking a lot of profits right here. So hopefully this is a helpful update, and hopefully I'm not missing anything. But this is Bitcoin. That was my update in regards to Bitcoin. I do have something else that I also wanted to talk about in regards to Bitcoin. It's just, oh my gosh, well, why did I wanted to? Yeah, I wanted to talk about something. What is it? Oh my God, don't tell me I'm forgetting. Just give me a second, chat. Oh la 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 la. What was it? Once again, subscribe, smash the like button. Subscribe, smash the like button, and let's keep this going. But make sure you subscribe, guys. Please hit that subscribe button. Let's get to 1,000 subscribers. Oh, yes, I know exactly what I wanted to talk about. So, you are right now going to see everyone flipping bullish again. And the conversation is going to be that the conversation right now is going to be that we are back in a bull market. We are going to see a Bitcoin that goes back to around $120,000, that goes to $150,000. But let me be very clear. And this is my opinion on the market based on, the way I do technical analysis. This is what we call a day cap bounce. This is not a new bullish setup. This is not going to lead us to some sustainable price action. This is not going to lead us to a move that is going to be sustainable for multiple weeks and multiple months. I do not believe it. I do not believe it. At some point, we are going to be bullish long term again. We are going to see sustainable price action. The price of Bitcoin is going to hit whatever targets that you have in your mind. But right now, all right, the current state of Bitcoin, the current setup, in my opinion, does not support a long-term uptrend. So let me talk about that. And what I want to talk about is something that I actually talked about in one of my recent live streams. Let me show you the difference between what we have right now and what we normally have when we have a bullish, long-term, sustainable uptrend. I don't know if that makes any sense, but what I want to show to you is how Bitcoin tends to consolidate. All right, in what format do we tend to consolidate in? Before we continue the uptrend. So if you go back and you look at Bitcoin's consolidation throughout this entire bull market, guys, all right, it is pretty much very different from what we have right now. And I'm just going to paint it to you right here. During a long-term uptrend, when we have these short-term pullbacks on the lower time, this is normally the formation. This is normally how Bitcoin tends to consolidate. It is within a falling wedge, right, which is a very bullish pattern. So price tends to, look like this. Price is in a beautiful uptrend, all right, and then at some point we go into a consolidation mode. We get something that looks like this, where price goes sideways, all right, in this type of pattern, and then we get a breakout, and then we might get a retest, and then price goes up, all right. In a bear market, this is what the consolidation tends to look like. We tend to have a bear flag, all right? Things tend to look like this. Bitcoin has been bullish, and then we break the trend, and then we start coming down, and then we get this type of bearish consolidation where the price goes up like this, all right? And then we lose the support. Whoops. And then we end up with something that looks like this. So right now, this is what we have. We don't have a Bitcoin that's consolidating like this. And let me show you an example of this. Not one, not two. I'm going to show you multiple of them. So throughout this bull market, our most recent consolidation, actually, I'm going to give you one right here. Here is one. All right. A bullish wedge right here. Here we have another one. Okay. Here we have another one. This was the one from earlier this year. And then we had the biggest one. This one actually took place on the weekly. If I go to the weekly, this one is more cleaner. So if we go to the weekly, a lot of more cleaner right here. See right here the weekly, guys. But let's go back to the daily. Here we have another one. All right. I'm not showing you one example. I'm showing you multiple because I don't want you to say, oh, that is only one time when Bitcoin consolidated in that falling wedge. So here we have another one. All right. And even if you go back and you look at this one right here, when we finalized the bear market, it's exactly the same consolidation, guys. Notice how they all look very identical. All right. They all look very identical. This one right here looks very identical to this right here. All right. Very identical to this one right here. Very identical to this one right here. This one right here. Like, you see the pattern, guys. Now, that is exactly this right here. It's exactly the example that I just showed you guys. If you go in a bear market, we don't have this. In a bear market, we have this right here. So if I go back to our last bear market, which is right here, I'm going to show you examples. Let me get rid of that. So during our last bear market, here you have the first one. This is a bear flag right here, chat. All right. Here you have the second one. You have the second one right here. Here you have the third one. Once again, notice how price consolidate in a rising formation or format. All right. The format is higher highs, higher lows, but it's bearish. It's not bullish. Here you have another one. Here you have another one right here, chat. And then here you have also, now this is the end of the bear market. You also have another one right here. All right. Again, very identical. Notice how, once again, price is rising, but, we just end up crashing. So this was, the last bear market. Even if you go back to that 2018 bear market, you get exactly the same pattern. It's exactly the same theme. So if you come back right here, all right, this is 2018 bear market. Once again, look at this right here. Look at this consolidation. Look at this one right here. Look at this one right here. All right. Look at this one right here. I'm sure you guys are getting tired of this, but I want to make sure the examples are very clear. I don't want you to say I'm cherry picking. Here you have another one right here. Guys, I can go on and on, man. There's so many examples like this. Now, if you go to, the 2017 bull market, I want you to take a look at consolidations. Look at this one right here. All right, bullish consolidation. Notice how, all right, the format, price is in a declining phase. All right, but you get a breakout to the upside. The price is not rising and then you get a breakdown. No, price is in a declining phase and then you get a breakout to the upside. So here's a clear one. There's also another one right here, guys. There's another one right here. There's also another one. Look, it's so many of them. All right, it is so many of them. And I'm sure I can go back to the 2014 bull market. I'm sure I can go back to the 2015 bear market, 2013 bull market, 2014 bear market. I'm sure I can go back to those. Anyways, the point that I'm trying to make right now is that this, to me, all right now, based on the characteristic of it, this to me does not look bullish. All right. I don't care how people try to spin it. I don't see how BTC is bullish long term with a chart like this. Another reason, let me show you another reason. I'm going to use RSI and MACD. Yo, let me show you the vibes I'm getting right now. I am getting this vibe right here. All right, look, once this RSI is overbought, get out of your position, guys. Look, we are almost overbought right now. In a downtrend, overbought RSI is a sell signal. All right. In a downtrend, in a bear market, when your RSI is overbought, get out. It is normally a good time to get out. I'm not saying you're going to time exactly the top of the move, but it is normally a good time to get out. I am predicting $96,000, $98,000. Yo, RSI is already at 67. Once we hit 70, that is overbought. Get out of your position. So, anyways, let me show you the vibes I'm getting right now. I'm going to go back to, of course, the last bear market. Yo, chat, I'm literally getting this vibe right here. And it's going to be crazy if we actually got an overbought RSI. We actually did. Chat, it is right here. I mean, I'm not making anything up. This is the vibes I'm getting right now. Look, do I know if I'm going to be right? I don't know. I'm just looking at the market and I'm just doing my technical analysis. And this is what I'm getting right here. I think this is exactly what we're having right now, if you ask me. RSI overbought at 70. Get out of your position. All right. This is not a time to be bullish. Absolutely not. All right. We managed to break above the 200 surprisingly here. But guess what? Wasn't sustainable. Lost the 200 moving average quickly right after. So this is the vibe I'm getting. You look at the MACD. MACD breaks into, the bullish environment. But we were only there for a couple of days. And then, bang. If we go to the weekly is going to be even more cleaner. So if you go to the weekly, let me show you what the RSI is going to look like and the MACD. The weekly RSI will break above the 50 line. All right. The MACD will try to give you a buy signal. But guess what, guys? The MACD is giving you a buy signal while it's in a bearish territory. This is not a good place to get a buy signal. If we can break above the zero line, okay, maybe there is something there, but not right now. So this was the last bear market. Let me show you what we have right now. Yo, Chad, you tell me this is not pretty much the same setup. Look at this right here, guys. RSI still rising. It is currently around 45. So maybe by the time we get to 96,000, or by the time the price is somewhere in that range, RSI breaks above the 50 line. The MACD may give you like some sort of a buy signal, but it's not a bullish buy signal. All right. So if you think about, what came after, all right, RSI lost the 50 line again, which is a signal that we were back bearish again. The MACD stayed below the zero line, which was pretty much a reason to continue to be bearish on the market. And that was in April of 2022. Yo, we didn't turn bullish until January 2023. So if you think about right now, the setup is right there. The MACD says, despite price going from $80,000 to $94,000, long-term wise, nothing has changed. All right, nothing has changed. You still have a market that is bearish. Let me show you a different indicator, and let's see what we could get from it. All right, I'm gonna use the Bollinger Bands. If you go to the weekly and you look at the weekly Bollinger Bands, yes, price is up, but we are still bearish as long as the price is below the 20 weekly moving average. The 20 weekly moving average is at $102,000. So what that means is, as long as the price is below this $102,000 or below this 20 weekly moving average on the Bollinger Bands, we are still bearish on this weekly. All right, this is not a time to be bullish. If we can get something like this where we continue up and then we, break above the 21 weekly, the 20 weekly, this is a 20, it's not a 21. All right, we can be bullish here. But, this is a declining, this is a well in a declining phase. This is a declining 20 weekly. Throughout this entire bull market, the 21 weekly was always rising. All right, even the one that almost started to decline, it was only for a brief moment. This one right here, it looks like the declining phase is well established right now, and we should pretty soon start accelerating. I'm not liking what I'm seeing right here on the weekly. All right, my opinion on BTC long term has absolutely not changed. So anyways, I'm giving you this update because I promise you, you are going to see people talk about how we're going back to all-time highs. You are going to see new price predictions. But what I want you to do is, I want you to block the noise and I want you to analyze BTC yourself. And you tell me, or you come to that conclusion, are we bullish long-term or are we only bullish short-term? Short-term, I'm bullish. I was bullish from $85,000, $87,000. Right after breaking above that trend line, I became extremely bullish on BTC. And it's right here. And you go back to my recent updates on Bitcoin, I was very bullish and I was calling for $96,000. But what I also said was, hey, 96,000 is my target. The moment we get to these moving averages on the weekly, I'm not bullish on Bitcoin. I'm starting to, I'm going to start calling for the price to get rejected somewhere around there and for, a new pullback. So that, another update for Bitcoin, just in case you guys are wondering, is this the beginning of a phenomenal bull market? Absolutely not. At least not for me. Hit that subscribe button. Hit a like button if you haven't already. Let's get to 1,000 subscribers, people. It's 2026. More love, less hate. Let's get to 1,000 subscribers. Excuse me. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. What a time to be alive. I really can't believe we're in 2026. Like, this is just crazy. All right, so do I talk about all coins, or do I just ask you questions? Or do I just talk about the ones that you guys are interested in? My watch list looks really good. Oh, the other thing that I also wanted to say is, if you like my analysis, if you like the content, and you want to be part of my community, I do have a private Discord. It's about $200 in 6 months, $350 for 12 months. Uh, I don't just post crypto stuff. Like, I don't just post crypto trades. I also do stocks. Some of the stocks that we recently talked about that have done very well. AA right here. I brought this to my members around $46. It is currently up to about 27%, 66 right here. And I think it's going higher. All right. So this is an example of, we're not just in the cryptocurrency market and waiting for crypto setup. If anything is bullish, but it comes from the stock market, we're there. All right. So this is one of my most recent posts. Another one is ASTS right here. I think we got in this one maybe in the 70s or 80s. And of course, I'm predicting going up to around $100. Let me see. But you know what's crazy? So this one actually, my first post was around $30. So my first post was right here. Yeah, like right here around 35. Price ended up going to $100, which was like a 200% gains. I mean, even right now, already up 180%. But recently, we took another trade, ASTS. Let me see. Yeah, we got in at $72. 72 is right here. So this is a trade that is currently up about, another 27%. Another one is AFRM. I don't know. Maybe the entry was. I gotta have to look at that one. I think entry. I think it's like $70 maybe. $73. That was the entry. So 73 is right here. So this one is up about 10%. Another one, this one is down. You can't win them all, right? Another one, I think entry $4, I think. Currently down about 10%. I'm waiting for this breakout right here. As long as price, stays above 327, we should be fine. Another one is Zeta. Yeah, this one recently jumped in this one. Yeah, this one looks really all right. Another one, Alibaba. Yeah, this one looks really bullish. Another one I like is this right here. All right, I wish we saw it around here, but yeah, it's okay. Another one is Rivian. We got into Rivian right here, guys, around I think $14, $15, or maybe like 16 or 16. Currently up about 12%. At one point, it was up about 30, but targeting a bigger target, $24. Another one is, I have a bunch of trades, stocks that I share with the people. Another one is Plug. We got into Plug around 150, ended up running all the way out to like $4 or $5. Recently had a big pullback. Now it looks like the pullback is over actually. So if I'm looking at this weekly, oh, this looks really good. Absolutely like it. So yeah, this is another one. So yes, look, I'm saying all that to say that if you are interested in joining my Discord, where you can be part of a very, very exciting community, let me put a link in the chat. Let me post a link. There you go. And then, yo, chat, I'm going to ask you guys, and honestly, I'm begging you. All right, this will mean so, so much to me. I had a YouTube channel with 10,000 subscribers. Unfortunately, YouTube deleted my channel. So I am trying to get that channel back. If you guys can do me this one big favor, go to my X page and please, guys, share this tweet with YouTube and let's make some noise and let's see if we can get, guys, let's see if we can get the channel back. That will mean the world to me. I mean, honestly. YouTube said they're going to look into it, but look, man, I don't believe these guys unless a lot of more, many more of us continues to just knock on their doors. Right now, it's like, what am I doing? Like, what did I do? How do I lose 10,000 subscribers when I didn't violate any of their policies or, I wasn't. What the hell is that? Yeah, like how do I lose, 10,000 subscribers? How do I lose an entire channel if I didn't do anything? So, yeah, look, I'm fighting, but I'm basically powerless. When you don't have a bigger community, when you don't have a bigger channel, it's very hard for YouTube to do anything. So if you guys can do me a favor, look, share with some friends, go to X, tag YouTube, make some noise. Let's see if I can get my channel back. Now let me analyze the stuff that you guys are asking. Can you analyze Jasmine, and then we have Cornargar? What kind of stock is that? Let me see. This one, yeah, I'm just gonna be honest with you. Don't even look at it. And honestly, I mean it because it's in a long-term downtrend. Look, could this be the bottom? Probably. Like, I don't want to be bearish on it because we are retesting major support. But personally, I wouldn't want to buy something that looks like this because look, its downtrend started back from around 2017. From 2017, around $41. We are in 2026, and you have a stock that is trading at $17. You may be thinking, surely this is the low. But you never know. We could potentially come to around $10. So to me, I wouldn't touch this. There's better looking charts than this on the monthly. But if you are interested in just, pure technical analysis, this is a big support right here. All right. It is still in a clear downtrend. So if we can hold $16, then, I'm looking at a move back to retest $19 to $21. So I'm basically looking at this target, 1983. That will be my first target. And then after that, we'll see if there's a pullback. And then after that, we'll see what the chart looks like. But right now, yeah, for me, I wouldn't touch it. It's not worth it. Not at all. Yo, there's better looking charts. Let me show you an example of a good looking chart. Alibaba is one of my favorite setup right now. It is currently trading around, I think, at 150. Where is Alibaba? Right here, $156. If you're buying something, you want to make sure your monthly looks like this. All right. I know when you look at something like this, you may be thinking, well, I'm too late. I should have jumped in right here. But no, guys. Here, the trend has been established. Here, you are a trend follower. You're jumping into something that's more likely to go up compared to the other one. That one is more likely to go down because of the setup. This one is more likely to go up because of the setup. So for me, Alibaba is one of my favorite setup right now. TA wise, this is a clean breakout, especially if you go to the daily. This is a clean breakout, and I'm basically targeting 181 and 206. I just gave you guys, like, I shared this with the Discord earlier today. So as long as Alibaba can stay above 145, like, these are my clear targets. Even if we do get a pullback, as long as this thing stays above on the weekly, as long as price stays above 103, I mean, the chart is very bullish. But in a bull market, price tends to come back to retest either the 21 or the 50. We just retested the 50, and it looks like the 50 is acting as a support, the same way it acts as a support right here, guys. If price was to come back down, then I will start looking at the 50 weekly moving average. The last time we had a big pullback, we came back to the 50 weekly right here. All right, around $103. So to me, I'm looking at Alibaba right now, and I think this is one of the best stock to own in 2026. With a monthly like this thing is going way, way higher. And it wouldn't surprise me by 2026 if the price is somewhere in the mid $200 range. I'm not going to say new all-time highs, but it absolutely wouldn't surprise me to see the price of Alibaba around $200 in 2026. Let me talk about Jasmy. Once again, for some of you guys who are joining right now, appreciate you guys for joining. But do me a favor, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. And if you are on X, guys, jump over X, make some noise. Tell YouTube I need my channel back. The more of us that can make some noise, YouTube is definitely going to take a look into the matter. Right now, because I am a small creator, I mean, I don't think YouTube gives a fuck, to be honest with you guys. So anyways, yeah, let's get back to crypto. And let's take a look at Jasmy. Hold on, where's my phone? Jasmy right here. I did analyze Jasmy a couple of days ago. If I'm looking at Jasmy here, look, this is an area of interest. If this move continues, I'm looking at this range right here. The 21 weekly moving average is always a place that I'm, pretty much very interested in. So that to me is the range. We had some bullish divergence recently. We talked about them. The best time to jump in Jasmy was back here about 2-3 days ago. Right now, I do think it's still early, but you run the risk of getting hit with a pullback. So the question now is, do we get a pullback of this breakout? Like, do we get something that looks like this? And then we go up, or do we just continue up? If we just continue up, then you may have to go down to like the 4 hour to look for entries. So maybe like this could be an entry with a stop loss just right below this. This is not financial advice. Make sure you do your own research. So something like this, I wouldn't mind it at all. 22% profits. The risk is about 5%. Yeah, something like that, I wouldn't mind at all. But on the daily, yeah, the question is, are we still early? All right. Even though I'm looking at this range, like we don't have to get there. Like we might just go up to around 00778. and we are very close to there. So if you think about what that looks like, if you go from the lows all the way up, this is already a 40% move. So it wouldn't be worth it if this is your entry and this is your target. All right. I think the best time to get in was when we got the breakout, and after this daily close right here, this was the best time to jump in. Already up about 15%. Or, if you go down to the lower time, I think you have, here you have better entries in terms of how you want to play this. Even if you're just going after this target, this is at 8% profits. And if you simply put your stop loss below this, the risk is only 6%. Now, I wouldn't take this trade right here. I think if I take a trade, I'm aiming for, minimum of 15% profits. Ax221, love your channel. Yeah, thank you very much. Really, really appreciate it. Look, I appreciate you guys who tune in and you smash the like and, you do all the things and you engage with the content. I mean, absolutely appreciate it, guys. It means a lot. And hopefully I am providing value. So, yeah, that will be Jasmine. It's bullish. But once again, I do want to be very clear. This is not long-term bullish. This is only short-term bullish. Setups like this, timing is extremely important because these moves, they don't really last. It's only a couple weeks, maybe a couple days, and then, the move is over. So I do think you want to be careful. There may be other opportunities out there. You might have some projects that really haven't done anything. Oh my gosh, Sui's going crazy. So this is one that we recently talked about. I think this trade is probably already up 50%. It's up about 30% right now. I'm aiming at this right here. Yeah, look. Oh my God. Yeah, this looks incredible. So if Sui closed today above $1.79, I think that triggers a move to $2.25. Yeah, get ready for this 50% trade that we talked about. So this one, regardless of what happens right now, it should always end up in profits because right now you should have moved your stop loss to a higher, target. Maybe target could be just right below $1.51, or you can even raise it to, just right below 160. All right. However you want to play this. Oh, this looks beautiful. Yeah, this looks amazing. Oh my gosh. I'm super glad we did Sui. We also did Near Protocol. Let's see the performance. We're looking at this 30% move. The risk was only 6%. I mean, this trade is looking pretty good as well. This was the entry. Already up 20%. Yo, Chad, these are all trades that were shared with you literally right here publicly. For free with no charge. What else? We also talked about Aerodrome. Another one. This one, we talked about it from here. So this is already up almost 50%. And then I gave you another trade right here that's already in profits as well. I mean, this is lovely. Lovely stuff right here. We talked about XRP. Oh my gosh. XRP has hit my target. XRP has hit my target. We talked about XRP right here early, up about 20, already up about 20%. Oh my gosh, incredible. Incredible stuff. So all these are updates from, days ago. So all coins, look, bullish divergency. Look at this right here. $18 right here, actually, and 40 cents. So right here, this is about 7 days ago. We started with AVAX. We jumped into SUI. SUI $1.42. You see the price right there, because I don't want any of you guys to say, hey, what are you talking about? You didn't say any of that. SUI right here, guys. Look at the pullback. Look at the target. We're looking at this 225, 270. Stop loss just right below that, that support. And then we also talked about others. CRV. Remember the CRV trade? 39 cents. We talked about a pullback and then price goes up. So if you look at CRV, $0.43. So we got the pullback right here, 35 cents. But then we're looking at a move to 54 cents and of course higher. I mean, not higher, just 54 cents. XLM, we talked about XLM. Look at XLM, guys. I give you a trade. Wow. Look at XLM. We talked about it when price was back here. I said you either, if you jump in, you put your stop loss below the yellow line, or you wait for a breakout. So you could have waited for this breakout and you would have jumped in right here. This is a position that's currently up already 15%. All right. But, you're looking at, of course, a move into this range right here. Yeah, absolutely beautiful. And then we also talked about H-bar. Again, entry somewhere around 11 cents, currently at 13. So that's already a beautiful move. Already up 12%. Okay. And, I mean, unbelievable. Yeah, these are all updates from the last couple of days. Yo, right now, I got to be honest. I don't want to say it's too late, but the thing is this. These are day count bounce. So your timing is extremely important, because the wrong timing is going to kill you. I'm telling you, yo, chat, do not listen to anyone that say that this is the beginning of a long-term uptrend. This is not the beginning of a long-term uptrend. The beginning of a long-term uptrend does not look like this. If this is the beginning of a long-term uptrend, believe me when I say this. We're going to pump, and then we're going to retrace the entire move. And then we're going to build another setup to go up from there. But this is not, to me, I mean, this looks so bad, man. When you zoom out, when you go to the weekly, look, chat. This is H-bar right here. I mean, this looks so bad on the weekly. All right. So what I'm saying is this: if this is the beginning of some sort of long-term uptrend, then we're gonna get something that looks like this. We're gonna get exactly this. Well, not like exactly, like this, but think of it where price goes up for a little while and then we come back down. But when we do come back down, we don't lose the lows that was recently put in, or if we do lose the lows, it's in a pattern that is bullish long term. So, I don't think, we go from here up to 29 cents. I don't think that's the case. Or we go from here, all the way up to around 40 cents. I don't think that's the case. Look, if we get something like that, that would just be crazy. What else? Yeah, we talked about all these altcoins. Look, BTC. I mean, I've been telling you guys, $96,000 is coming. You want to know what's crazy? Look, when BTC was right here, I told you guys we were still bearish. All right. When we were here, I told you that we were still bearish, despite price going sideways around, 80 whatever $1,000. The reason was because, I think this is the short term, right? The reason was because we were still, behind this yellow line right here. But the moment we broke out, I changed my tune. This is the other thing, right? If you don't know technical analysis, or if you're still learning, you look at this and you say, hey, 8 days ago, you said the market was still bearish. A day later, you say the market is bullish. Guys, this is exactly what TA is. All right? You have to wait until the market proves to you that a new trend has been established. All right? Something has to change in the charts. So when I was looking at BTC and we were at $87,000, we were still below this yellow line. I say, hey, listen, chances are we get rejected right here, because that's exactly what this trend line is here to do. It is here to reject the price. Every time we get closer to this yellow line, we get rejected. So why would I speculate that something else is going to happen? All right. But the moment we broke the yellow line and you look at the price, now you have to say, oh, we actually are no longer bearish on the market. Now we have a market that is bullish. And this is where you get a new update about 4 days ago. This is where we look at Bitcoin and we said, guys, something has changed. For the first time, now there's a reason for the price of Bitcoin to go up. Now there is a reason to be excited. And this is how we go from 87,000 to, what's the price right now? $95,000? $94,000. All right. MicroStrategy. Let me talk about MicroStrategy for a brief moment because I do want to get out of here. So, my opinion on MicroStrategy is that we are working on a move that is about to bring us to retest. We don't have to. Probably this yellow line right here. So, if that is the case, then you could be looking at MicroStrategy going somewhere around $200 or just right above $200. I'm looking at the 21 weekly. It is right now around $235. Where is $235? Well, it's exactly right here. Right? A major support that has now become a resistance because we are below it. So my belief is that, we're looking at a strategy that is about to push all the way up into the low $200 range. Now, how do I know that? Well, when you go to the weekly, this is exactly what I was talking about with these altcoins a couple of days ago. We have a bullish divergence. So even though the price has been going down, if you look at the RSI and you look at the MACD, this is very positive. All right. The MACD has been rising. The RSI has been rising. The price has been declining. All right. So when I look at this, I love what I see. All right. Yes, the price might be at $150, but I don't care about the price. What I care about is the structure of the market. And when I look at MicroStrategy and I look at this structure right here, this is a bullish divergence, guys. The same way a couple of days ago, I was looking at altcoins. This is 7 days ago right here. The same way I was looking at altcoins. And I saw something that was very positive despite, all right, price just, how depressing, right? The same way I was looking at them, and I look at the MACD, I looked at the RSI, and they were both very positive despite, once again, price being, extremely in a downtrend. This is exactly what we had a couple of days ago. This is exactly what I see when I go back to MicroStrategy. So in my opinion, this is a time to take advantage of Sailor Coin. Get in. This is not financial advice. But I think if you're getting in in this 160 whatever, you just got to be patient. I think very soon this thing is going to pop. All right? I'm going to have to be patient, but I do think very soon this thing is going to pop. So, chat, I just did over an hour. We talked about this market, and I don't think there is anything else to talk about. I do appreciate you guys. Hopefully you appreciate the update. You appreciate the live stream. You appreciate Bitcoin's price analysis. And once again, a big reminder. Guys, if you have me on X, look, even if you don't, just give me a follow. go there, share my tweet, or you can tweet your own. Absolutely appreciate if you do tweet your own. Tag YouTube. You can tag YouTube and YouTube creators. Let them know I need my channel back. I didn't violate anything. All right, absolutely nothing, guys. Look, all my content are original because this is basically it. I'm the one that's recording them. I'm not shilling any project, so I'm not getting paid to cover any project. And what else? Yeah, like what else? That's pretty much. I'm not promoting any altcoin. I'm not stealing other people's content, so I don't know exactly what I violated. This is, this is what's actually stressful. The frustration I'm getting is that they don't even tell you what you actually violated. All you get is that, you violated something, blah, blah, blah. And because of that, your channel has been removed. Yeah. Wow. All right. Appreciate you guys. I'll see you next time. Peace out, guys.